Super Bowl 56 is in the books, and the LA Rams are Super Bowl champions after topping the Cincinnati Bengals in thrilling fashion. Matt, I have a very simple question for you. What was your reaction to the LA Rams winning a Super Bowl in their home stadium?
I mean, my reaction was that looking back at what we talked about on Simple Question last week, a lot of it played out the way that we thought it was going to
100%.
play out. I definitely had the Bengals, and I mean, even up until the very end, they had a chance to be in it. They gave Joe Burrow a chance to march down the field, but the biggest weakness for the Bengals eventually, came to fruition, and Aaron Donald and Von Miller and Leonard Floyd were able to get through that very weak offensive line and give Joe Burrow a lot of trouble. And then the other biggest issue I have, and the thing that I'll remember the most, is almost like the NFC Championship game from last year when everybody was upset with LaFleur for not giving Rodgers both chances at the end to go for the touchdown. I don't know why Zach Taylor didn't, on 3rd and 1, give Joe Burrow the ball and let his quarterback and his superstar, the reason that they're in the Super Bowl in the first place, give him a chance to get a yard instead of waiting until 4th down when you can just allow Aaron Donald to go after Joe Burrow with no worries because he knows this is the make or break play. So I think there was that. And then obviously Cooper Kupp stepped up the way that we all thought he would. And Aaron Donald, if this is the last we see of Donald, I mean, what a way to go out.
100%. I mean, a lot of what you said was right. I mean, I think Zach Taylor deserves some criticism for that 3rd down decision there. But I believe, honestly, I think the better team, the better collection of talent won. Obviously, I picked the Rams to win last week. And part of the reason I did that is because I assumed Sean McVay would kind of learn from the mistakes from his first Super Bowl appearance. And while he did coach a good game, this Super Bowl was about Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald. I said last week that OBJ was the most important person to this Rams offense, and it looked that way throughout that first half before his injury that kept him out the rest of the game.
Well, I think that even proved it more, that you were right.
100%.
Because you noticed the difference.
100%. I mean, he was gashing him. The touchdown set the tone for the game, I believe. And even aside from the touchdown, he had a couple big gainers. And he had that offense looking explosive. But from that point on, it was Cooper Kupp. There was no Tyler Higbee. Obviously, they were without Rob Woods for the majority of the season. In that moment, the ball was going to Cooper Kupp throughout that second half. Everybody on the field knew it, and Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp were still able to get it done. And Cooper Kupp was obviously able to claim Super Bowl MVP. He was very deserving, but Aaron Donald on the defensive end, he could have easily gotten Super Bowl MVP, and he did exactly what I thought he would do. Make Joe Burrow's life a living hell for 60 minutes and close that game. Again, we talked about it last week. I expected the Rams to get out to a lead, the Bengals to make a run, make it interesting late, and it had to come down to a late drive from Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and the crew, and that's what happened. So again, I think the better team won, the better collection of talent won. Like I said last week again, going back to that, because we talked about a lot of this. I didn't see Aaron Donald getting another opportunity at a Super Bowl and falling short. I think Sean McVay kind of looks the best out of this because he made the call to get Stafford. He made the call to get OBJ, Von Miller mid-season. But, it's these players ultimately that get it done. And that's what happened in this one. I didn't see it for a lot of this season with this Rams. I owe Matthew Stafford an apology. He got it done. He's proved himself to be a playoff performer. But we got to talk about the other team a little bit, too.
Absolutely.
What do you make of the Bengals? I heard some sports pundits this morning saying that they believe this was the Bengals' best chance, that they might miss the playoffs next season. Obviously, they have some holes to fix moving forward, particularly on the offensive line. But what do you see the Bengals going from here?
I mean, I definitely think it's going to be interesting. Free agency is always going to be tough for a team that gets hot and probably wasn't really prepared to make a run like they did. I don't think anybody was expecting this out of Cincinnati. I think they're going to have to re-sign some key players. But at the end of the day, here's the truth of it. You have Joe Burrow. You have Jamar Chase. If you just have that, you're basically set up to at least make a playoff run most seasons because of how dynamic that group is. If you add to that T. Higgins and Boyd and also, Joe Mixon, that offense is unbelievable, and they can improve pretty quickly at the offensive line. I think Kansas City has shown how quickly you can, with a few key moves, can change your offensive line play. And I think Zach Taylor is still a good coach. So I expect the Bengals to at least make the playoffs next year. I think that Joe Burrow will continue to have success. This isn't the last time we saw him.
I don't think so either. I think the Bengals will continue to be a player in the AFC for years to come. Obviously, you know, the AFC is the toughest conference in the NFL, filled with a bunch of talented young quarterbacks, Joe Burrow being one of them. But yeah, I agree with you. As long as you have Joe Burrow, who I believe already is a top 5 quarterback at this point, Jamar Chase, who I believe is already a top 5 wide receiver in year 1, and Joe Mixon, who's quietly a top 5 running back. He's proved it this season. As long as you have that core moving forward, you'll be all right. And I said a couple weeks ago, I think the Bengals are an offensive line away from being a dynasty. I still feel that same way, and I think the most encouraging part of that Super Bowl loss for the Bengals is that you don't walk away from that game thinking any less of Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase balled against the best corner in the NFL in Jalen Ramsey. Joe Burrow played well for the most part. He damn near played well enough to win.
I mean, if you think about it, here's the other thing. We've talked about it. The extra wild card spot really allows you to not even win your division and still have a great chance. I mean, the NFC West had 3 teams show up this offseason or this postseason. And if you look at the AFC North, I don't know what's going to happen with Cleveland. I mean, the Ravens are dangerous if they're healthy, but you never know if they're going to be healthy.
Right.
And then the Steelers have a great defense, but who's going to play quarterback for them?
Right.
So the AFC North is still very wide open. And I mean, I think the Bengals actually have the best chance to re-win the division. It just depends on the Ravens at this point.
100%. Well, that's going to close the book on the 2021 season, unfortunately. What a season. Congratulations to the LA Rams. We certainly won't be seeing the last of the Cincinnati Bengals, but that's going to do it for us. Catch us on tomorrow's episode of Simple Question. For Scott Proctor and Matt Morris, we'll catch you next time.